Follow John Robbie on Twitter at 702 John Robbie.
9 minutes past 7. All right, well, let's talk about an issue that is becoming all too common in South Africa. We know times are tough and it's very competitive for local companies, particularly those who compete with imports from abroad. And how do you draw the line between paying decent wages and staying profitable and in business? Well, it seems we've seen it with the farms, we've seen it with the mines, and now the textile industry in KwaZulu-Natal. To talk about the report on the textile battle, which went to court yesterday, Anne Bernstein, founding executive director of the Centre for Development and Enterprise. Anne, nice talking to you again, and good morning.
Good morning, John.
We're talking about, we desperately need jobs in the country, but we seem hell-bent on losing them. Tell us about this case. We got 450 firms who might close because they're being forced to pay certain wages. Is it as simple as that?
Well, in a way it is. We released a report yesterday where 2 university professors from UCT have looked at the situation in Newcastle and the potential job destruction. There has been some already where the National Bargaining Council, mainly representing larger firms from metropolitan areas, together with the trade union, are saying that these firms in Newcastle, which provide goods for the low-wage market and pay their workers low wages, should be closed down. And our view is that this is crazy. With the statistics you're talking about hunger, with the unbelievable rate of unemployment in this country, we need as many jobs as we can get. And if they're not great jobs, well, we don't have a very highly skilled and educated population. And so we're saying we should be expanding this low-wage sector.
Yeah.
We should be getting some of these jobs that are going to move out of China as wages and costs go up. And we should think differently about this, John. We need to redefine what it means to have a fair environment.
A decent job is the word they use. So what you're basically saying is that we should differentiate between low-wage earners and industries where this is necessary in order to survive and areas where you can enforce a minimum wage. You're talking about sort of different standards and not one size fits all.
Absolutely, and we should expand both. We desperately need to grow the economy, and we can grow it at both ends. But the truth is that most of the people who work in textiles are often disproportionately women. And if you think of Newcastle, where a lot of these factories are, this is an area of about 60% or more unemployment. And these are often the best jobs in town. That they're better than domestic labor, they're better than working on a farm, and they offer a prospect for getting into the modern economy. If you look at the conditions in many of these factories, these are not horrific. This is not Dickensian sort of factories.
Yeah.
There's a chance to learn things on the job. Often people learn in these factories, work hard, and then they can get into a higher paying factory to do more sophisticated work.
It makes sense to me, and the problem is, and looking at the newspapers today, that the unions and the National Bargaining Council say there's a Labour Act, and this provides for firms that are battling to pay less than the minimum wage. But of course, the firms don't want to be transparent and release their figures.
Well, these Chinese firms have been... John, I'm not an expert on the actual court case.
Yes, sure,
We released a report to coincide with that. But we know quite a lot. And if you read our report, you will find out a great deal about the wages that are paid in these Chinese factories. And so they have been fairly transparent. What they've had to do is, in order to survive, there's been a sort of cat and mouse game going on with the department and the National Bargaining Council. And we think this is crazy.
Are these Chinese factories we're talking about in Newcastle?
Well, these are Chinese South Africans. These are people who came out to the country from Taiwan and from elsewhere, in the early 90s often. And instead of growing this sector and saying, great, we've got an opportunity to learn from the expertise they bring with them on how to survive in this very cut-rate, globally competitive sector, we're kind of going for them in this notion that, South Africa needs a high-wage, high-tech economy, but we don't have the workers for such an economy.
How do we get hold of your report, Anne, if people want to read your report?
Well, it'll be on our website later today. We've been having problems. The storm hit us last week, unfortunately, just in time.
Okay.
But later today on our website, www.cde.org.za.
Great stuff, Anne. Again, thank you for talking to us.
Thank you.